create new ways of making passive income. Raise your hands, see how the crowd is, all right? All right, this is you guys. I want you to scream at the top of your lungs. I'm serious. How many guys came out here to get fucking rich? Let's go! Come on! Let's go! Who came out here to get fucking rich? Yeah! All right.
Let's do it. Man, I love coming to events where who felt the feels when Pace was up here speaking? You guys feel that? That was money. Pace is money every single time. And he brought some ideas to mind. So if you guys have heard us speak, I'm going to give you some new secret sauce today. This will be fun. Who got into the business to help people? Anybody like that's your core value? That's part of what you do. Like you were there to help people. Is that you? Let's go. That's right. Okay, cool. So I'm one of those people too. I'm one of those people. In fact, I'll tell you a few different stories about some deals here. So. Who's done, raise your hand if you've done more than 3 deals? More than 10? More than 50? More than 100? Perfect, cool. So I've done hundreds of deals, Corey has as well. I had a seller that I called on the phone. I go to do this deal, I'm super excited, I pull up to the driveway, and the guy has 5 cars in the driveway, right? 5 cars in the driveway. I go sit down, he's gonna lose his house. We're negotiating, I'm trying to help him, and I say, bro, like, you've got these 5 cars out here, and they're nice, they're like brand new. So you've got these 5 cars out here, why don't you just sell like 2 of them? Sell 2 of them, you could save your house from foreclosure, right? And he looks at me dead in the face, and kind of like gives me this look like I'm stupid. And he says, Dane, but I'm a car guy. And I'm waiting for the punchline, right? I'm waiting for him to be like, nah, just kidding. He looks at me like I'm stupid, and I say, you're about to be I live in my car guy, right? And he didn't think it was that funny. And so like, long story short, he had some problems that we had to resolve, and at the end of the day, we were able to help him. He sold his house, we helped him keep all his cars, and his big why was he had to go and do some things for his wife to keep their relationship in a good place. I totally respected that. And so you have moments in the business where that part in your heart where you really want to help people, where you're there and you're serving and you do the right things, you're like, yes, I'm in the right place. And then you have other times where you set out to help somebody. I had this sub 2 deal that I bought. Anybody bought a trap house before? Anybody trap houses? Oh yeah. Anybody that raised their hand buying trap houses, you still buying them? Not me. I bought this trap house this one time. I was helping Gary, the seller. I had this woman that was in a wheelchair. She's wheelchair bound in this little duplex. And this was a sick sub 2 deal. I put down hardly any money. I was net like $1,000 a month, right? On this rental. And I'm like, I'm killing it. I watched Pace on YouTube. I did a sub 2 deal, man. Look at me, right? And then I sent my father-in-law over because the hot water heater went out, and he says, Dane, I'm over here in this unit. I think there's like 25 people in here. He said, and mind you, it's 400 square feet. He's like, I think there's 25 people in here, and I'm like, yeah, like. Just put the hot water heater in and don't worry about it. We'll be cool. The rent's still coming, right? You're balancing like, God, please let the rent keep coming. Man, so rent, of course, stops like month 2. I replace the hot water heater. Father-in-law replaces it, and then he calls me on his way out. And he says, Dane, I just want to give you a heads up. The police are here. Maybe you should come down. I was on the news for the biggest drug bust in that city's history is my property.
Let's go.
And needless to say, I was not that happy about helping that seller. So you get some, you win some, you lose some, right? The reason I share these experiences with you guys is because during the moments where you go and you have it in your heart to help somebody, and it doesn't go well. You had an experience like this, right? Where you helped somebody and then you got kicked in the stomach, right? We all have. It's during these times where you take a step back and you say, gosh, like, what am I doing? I don't know if you guys, if any of you are believers here, but there's a great scripture for Samuel. God comes to Samuel, and he wakes him up in the night, says, Samuel, Samuel. And I love Samuel's response. He says, speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. Samuel's ready and willing to hear, right? You guys ever had an experience with God where you're like, gosh, like I'm ready to hear? Right? Yeah, good. So that was me after this duplex. I'm like, God, am I like in the right place? And long story short, he opened my eyes. He said, look up and let's see what you're missing. And so we're going to talk to you today about some incredible things that we're doing with cryptocurrency alongside what we do in real estate and how we continue to help and serve people today.
Right on, I love that. So let's start, do you have the clicker, by the way? Okay, cool. So let's just start diving into a little bit of who our stories are, who we are, why you guys should listen to us. Maybe like you guys might follow some of us on social media. I'm Corey Geary. I've been in real estate for a little over a decade. And I tell people real estate saved my life. It did. Being an entrepreneur saved my life. When I got into real estate back in 2015, I was an alcoholic, I was a drug addict, I was a womanizer, and I was going to my deathbed fast. And I got into real estate just to chase money. And it was God's way of dangling a carrot to save my life, because it put me in rooms like this that leveled me up spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. And now I'm sober for multiple years. I have a beautiful family, and I live in Puerto Rico. Thank you. That's due to the entrepreneurship journey. Through the entrepreneurship journey, though, I tell people I built what I called a 7-figure prison. I got to a point in my journey where I was doing between 20 to 40 deals a month, working 15, 16 hours a day, hiring and firing all day long, and it was a business that owned me. I don't know if any of you guys have read the book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Who's read that book? And I've read many. You guys all should read that book. And what it taught me was, it taught me how to stop clawing my way in life to success and start letting God guide me in my life to success. And I'm gonna get a little emotional here for you, but this is serious. In my family, I am the one to break the chains and curse of mediocrity. I am the one to change my family lineage, to break the curse, the 9-to-5 scams, the 401k scams. I am the one in my family to change and break the matrix. I am the Neo in my matrix. Are you the Neo in your matrix? Yes or no? All right. The problem was the vehicle I was in was a very slow vehicle to break the chains and curse of mediocrity, to bring legacy wealth to my family when it took 30 to 50 years in real estate. Cryptocurrency is the highest appreciating asset class known to mankind. And fun fact, from 2020 and beyond, it created more millionaires and billionaires than any other asset class in the world, including real estate. Why is no one talking about it? So I thought to myself, instead of me focusing my 10,000 hours, that's what it takes to be a master of any skill or investing asset class, whatever, 10,000 hours, instead of investing it into real estate, this vehicle, what would happen if I put all that attention and time into crypto? And by the end of 2022, my crypto portfolio was making more passive income than my real estate company was making net, and that's when I did shut it down and moved to Puerto Rico and never looked back.
So let's go through really quick. We're gonna give you guys the secret sauce here really fast. Who's bought crypto before? Yeah? Who's lost money in crypto before? Perfect, cool. So we're gonna give you guys some of the secret sauce, the lessons that we're using right now, where we're helping our community make anywhere from a lot of people are making 1 to 6% a day right now without day trading and true passive income. We'll give you some of that stuff right now. So let's start with where we're at in the market right now. Here's a few charts. I'll give it super simple for you. These are the different crypto cycles laid over one over another. And you'll notice the black line, you'll see a little yellow circle. That's where we are right now. Right? There's a lot of fears about tariffs and the economy and all that type of stuff. The good news So in our opinion, we've still got a lot of room to run when it comes to this crypto cycle. In fact, if everything works out like previous cycles, we should see a top later this year. And we still have an opportunity to be able to make, like Corey was saying, Corey made more money in crypto, net, in a passive way than he was making his entire real estate company, period.
So where are we going? So that chart here that you guys are looking at is the 4-year cycle theory. The really remarkable thing about crypto is that it works in 4-year cycles down to the month. We know we're at like clockwork. It's amazing. Most people think that the 4-year cycle is based around what's called the Bitcoin halving. Who here knows what the Bitcoin halving is? Some people. Yeah, it's where the miners' inflation gets cut in half, and so there's a supply shock to the marketplace. But it's actually controlled by what's called the Global Liquidity Index. And that's just the money printers of the world. Right now, the M2 money supply is going absolutely parabolic. And it takes about 100 days for cryptocurrency or any risk on assets to catch up to where we're at on the M2 money supply. Here, what you're looking at, we're in about that markup number 2, the 12 to 18 month period. We're right in the beginning of that phase. And it's remarkable because we know we're there because we could study the cycle theory compared to the Global Liquidity Index. Imagine, if you will, in the stock market, if you had a crystal ball that told you where every pump and dip was at, when to buy, when to sell. Someone would probably throw you in jail if you had that crystal ball, but in crypto, we have that. We know exactly where we're at. Most people don't know this information. Most people, what they do is they come in and start buying crypto when all their friends are starting to make money. So when their Uber driver is telling them how he's made $50,000 on the dog coin, that's when they want to go buy crypto, but that's reality is when they should go buy a home and sell. And people come in and usually, and this is how most people lose money, they come in and buy at the top. Who here bought cryptocurrency in 2021? Not a lot of you guys, a few of you guys. That was the last top. And that's how most people get involved in crypto, but it's like the old Warren Buffett saying, you buy when people are fearful, and you sell when they're greedy. Real estate's no different. It's just a lot longer cycle. It's about an average about 18.5 years is what the real estate cycle is. So we work on 4-year cycles, and there's a lot more volatility, obviously. There's also a lot more upside potential, but you buy when people are fearful, and you sell when they're greedy. It's literally that simple. It's how Warren Buffett created his wealth in the stock market world. This is what we do in crypto. We just need to follow the 4-year cycle. But if you don't get involved in cryptocurrency, let me say this a few times to you guys today, because you got to understand this. With cycle theory, if you don't get involved with cryptocurrency in the next couple months, don't get involved in for another 4 years, because you do not want to come in and buy the top. You will be exit liquidity. So when you see it all over the 5 o'clock news, how it's the next best thing since sliced bread, you see it all over social media, and you see all the hype, it's too late. Keep that in mind, okay? Once again, if you're not coming into the space within the next month or two, wait another 4 years. Very important. This is the most important thing about crypto. It's where most people lose their money.
So you guys know the answer to this one. Where do you find the best deal? Shout it out. Off market, typically, right? And so we found, it's funny, when you go into a real estate deal, this is a dumb question, but you guys know the answer. Do you usually, well, let me describe. When you go and you do a real estate deal, right, you typically have a plan. You have a buy box of criteria. If I buy these types of deals, I typically make this type of money, right? And then you go and you execute the deal and you get a result. You determine whether or not you were right. How many of you had a plan when you went and you bought cryptocurrency?
Nobody.
So you learned how to be an investor from real estate, but a lot of people just throw those lessons out the door when it comes to buying cryptocurrency. And we're here to tell you that you can apply the same things. It's all we've done. You apply the same things that you're learning from real estate. We can apply it to cryptocurrency, and we can make a lot of money if we just use those same lessons. So just like you can find better deals typically in real estate off market, cryptocurrency, you typically find the best deals off market as well. By the time something hits a Coinbase, a Binance, a Crypto.com, somebody like me and Corey already bought it. It's up a 10, a 50, 100x. And that's usually a time to sell, not a time to buy. So we want to make sure, once again, same premise, we just want to focus on where the best deals are.
Yeah, we're buying directly on the blockchain, guys, before it even hits any of those big centralized exchanges. It's very important. So, let's explain a little bit of charts here for you guys. We won't get too deep into technical analysis, but when you see charts like this is a great looking chart. Most people are like, oh my gosh, that looks like death. But it is set up to absolutely go parabolic. This is the consolidation type charts that we look for on brand new layer 1 blockchains, and this is the time to come and accumulate these type of assets. And this one here is after the big pop. You can see when you zoom in, it's very hard to see. You can see where the actual triangle was at before the big pop, but the explosion is massive when they absolutely go parabolic. You can see this on Ethereum on the last cycle. You can see it on Bitcoin multiple cycles ago. You can see it on Avalanche from last cycle, Phantom. All the layer 1 blockchains go kind of through the same process. It's up to you as an investor to go out and do your due diligence, find out which ones have the right product market fit, have a lot of building, have big communities, and invest before the masses do. Because once that pop happens, that is the masses, that is retail coming in to the space. This is when you don't want to buy, it's when you want to be selling.
So once again, back to the idea of buying good off-market deals, you have to ask yourself, right? We get this question all the time. Dean and Corey, what do you think about XRP? Who knows what XRP is? Raise your hand if you've heard of this before. Does that feel like an off-market deal or an on-market deal?
On-market.
On. Everybody in here knows what that is. And most of you didn't even say you bought crypto before, right? So once again, we want to focus where the opportunities are, where the off-market deals are. And the good news is, once again, back to the previous, this is how you get these big pops. You find the off-market deals as long as you're positioned early. And you just want to, once again, get in at the right time. It's the exact same principles as we follow in real estate.
Let's talk some about our students here. This is Eric. Eric he owned a trucking company actually. And he sold his trucking company and he came to me and Dane and said, hey, guys, I got a little bit of extra money. I want to, diversify into this space. Can you guys show me what you're doing? And I said, sure, why not? He came in and he was only in for a couple weeks and he started with $3,000. And in our community, we have we have bird dogs. Just like in real estate, you have bird dogs going out and finding deals. In our whole community, we've been doing this now for 3 years, and we got a community of bird dogs going out in the blockchain, finding new opportunities. Me and Dane are obviously finding new opportunities too, but we have eyes and ears everywhere now. And our community found a coin, and we loved it. And me and Dane happened to be flying to an event that day. I remember when it happened, and he happened to be right in front of his computer when that coin launched. And he threw $3,000 in there, and 3 days later, he calls Dane up and goes, hey, you never taught me how to sell. Dane's like, what happened? What do you mean? What's the problem? He didn't know what was going on, and he's like, well, this $3,000 I threw into Icarus was the name of the coin. Don't go buy it now, but there was the coin at the time. But I turned it to $70,000. What do I do? I was like, Dane's like, oh, you need to take profits. That's what you do. If that ever happens to you, you take profits. You will never go broke. You'll never go broke taking profits. That is the key. You never just hold your bags. Take profits, especially when things are going parabolic. So he got on a Zoom call with Eric, and he helped him, initiate the sell on the blockchain, not on Coinbase. So that's why he was a little confused on the sell. He sold his coins on the blockchain. And when Dana got off the Zoom call with him, he's like, hey, I think there's a little bit more gas in the tank on this one. He pushed all his chips back in, and in 5 days, his $3,000 turned into $400,000.
So once again, this is the opportunity to get in before the big pop. It's not buying XRP, it's finding the off-market deals, right? Cool. So let us be your guide. We found that most people, like I said, like great example here, right? Most people said that they threw out any investor knowledge or plans when it came to buying cryptocurrency. And so what we do is we help you build out a plan. Build a plan so you know how to go and execute in the market. If you're unaware, people like BlackRock that were buying all the houses in the last few years, they're buying cryptocurrency.
Right now, as we're speaking.
Donald Trump, if you're unaware, initiated and he created his own token and is pushing Bitcoin for a strategic reserve for our country. JP Morgan Chase, Fidelity, I could name you a list for 2 hours of all the banking and the big people that are getting into cryptocurrency. If you felt like it wasn't legitimized before, you should feel like it's legitimized now. And you have to ask yourself, like really simple, do you think that things are becoming more digital over time or less? More, right? And our money is also becoming more digital. And so you have an opportunity to come and learn this stuff, and it doesn't take a ton of time. In fact, that's what we specialize in. We primarily work with real estate investors. We've got about 300 real estate investors in our community right now, and we help them in very limited time come in and just learn this stuff. So the way that we do that is we have our 30-day accelerator, and it's bare bones, get everything that you need in as little time as possible, because we know you guys don't have time. You don't need a second job, right? We want you to stay in your lane and remain focused on doing deals. And gosh, you could do a lot more deals if you made some extra cheddar.